A lot of the people that I love working with are in the same position I was in not very long ago. They're exploring franchising for the first time. There is a lot of fear involved in that process. And so I try to stay very cognizant of my emotions, how I felt, the conversations me and my wife had going through that, and make sure that we're bringing that up along the way. And there is going to be some times where you're scared. There's going to be some times where these fears start to creep in. I was there too. We're just going to make sure that we get the data to push past that. And if the data says that this isn't the right thing, then it's not the right thing. Hey, I'm Mike Flowers. I am a franchise advisor here at Franchise Sidekick. I grew up in Pearland, Texas, which is a small town just south of Houston. Both of my parents were teachers, and so I remember growing up watching them. We would be out at restaurants or out doing things as a family, and they were always having people come up to them, and they were like, "You had such a huge impact in my life," right? And I always thought it was cool that they were able to have that huge impact in people's lives. And so that was kind of where I got my passion going into business. Went to college in San Marcos at Texas State University, graduated with my degree in psychology, and my minor was in business administration. Once I graduated, I actually kind of took a little bit of a different path. Started off in law enforcement there in Austin for a little while. Left that. That's when I got into training and development with Focus Brands. Did that for a number of years. There was an opportunity to go to work for Cintas. That was a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 type of job. And so got into that in operations and leadership. One night, I remember we were relaxing on the couch, just trying to enjoy some wholesome cat videos on Facebook. And this ad popped up for a brand called DonutNV. And my wife and I had been talking about donuts. Like, there are no donut shops where we lived. So we were like, there's a huge market for this. This is not a new concept. Donuts and coffee are huge everywhere. It's been around forever. And then DonutNV pops up and they're like, we're donuts. And we have this cool like light up window. I'm like, they've got bright LED window. They've got the light show built into the trailer, and it's donuts. Someone's like reading our mind and talking to us. And so filled out the form, went through the process. I remember I had my first call with Demetrius. We talked through a couple of things. Next thing you know, I'm talking to this guy named Curt. He tells me he's going to be my advisor and walk me through the process. As I went through it, I realized there were so many things that I didn't know and wouldn't know how to do or where to even start. And the Sidekick process is broken down to make sure that I, as a client, knew this is what's coming up next. Here's what you're going to have to do. Curt was able to walk me through that process so that at the end of the day, when it was time to review and sign our franchise agreement, I had my business set up. We had the funding in place. The fear was still there, right? We're making a big decision for our family, but it was a fear based on just the fear of the unknown versus a fear based in data. After we signed our franchise agreement, I reached back out to Curt and I was like, hey man, I need to talk to you for a second about something that has nothing to do with donuts for the first time ever. And I'm like, what do you do every day? Is this it? Like, you find where people's passions are and you just help them walk this process to get them to business ownership? And he was like, yeah, every day, just working with people like you, working with people that sometimes it's their first venture. We've got people that are, looking for something on the side where they're going to stay in their corporate job and they want something that can work on the side. I had my final conversation with Sidekick and I got my offer. I'm like, I get to finally have that same impact that Curt had on our life with lives, across the country now. So that was a huge day. My sidekick is Mr. Miyagi because Mr. Miyagi breaks everything down to paint the fence. He breaks everything down to the simplest of simple, where it's something that you can understand and it's an easy concept, and then he builds that into what is next. We see that a lot with our daughter with gymnastics. You start off learning how to do just a forward roll as a little girl on the mat, and next thing you know, she's flying through the air and landing on balance beams, right? That's always been my favorite, is let's break everything down to simple. Let's not overcomplicate it, and then that will grow into what you want it to grow into once you understand the foundations.